Fordism, named after Henry Ford, was a system that he employed in his factories to mass-produce his Model T car in the early 1900s. However, it ended up being the engine for economic growth in the 20th century, which drastically changed commercial consumerism and retail. So how did Fordism originate? In the 1900s, after the integration of the segmentation of laborers, moving assembly lines, and control over supply lines, Henry Ford, owner of the Ford Motor Company, tried multiple forms of welfare capitalism. According to Pamela Pennock, a professor at the University of Michigan, welfare capitalism refers to a benevolent employer setting up programs and organizations, such as recreational facilities, insurance programs, or profit-sharing plans for its workers. The goal was to keep workers happy and loyal to the company and deter the creation of unions in the wake of the Progressive Era. Ford recognized the importance of a unified and efficient workforce and tried several of the listed solutions from 1910 to 1920. However, none were effective and large numbers of absent workers were very costly for Ford. In his attempt to boost efficiency, Ford decided to try something new and even controversial among his contemporaries. First, he reduced the number of hours one had to work by implementing the 8-hour workday. Next, he offered his workers $5 a day, a significant amount at the time if they met the certain requirements and conditions, determined by Ford's sociological department, which investigated workers' homes and personal lives, particularly alcohol use, marital relations, and spending habits. $2.34 was a regular wage. The last action that Ford took was to set up a special Ford Bank, which discouraged reckless spending and encouraged the workers to save the extra money. From 1914 to 1916, Ford Motor Company doubled its profits from $30 million to $60 million. The moves were definitely, as Ford once said, one of the finest cost-cutting moves we ever made. After the country witnessed arguably the most innovative automobile manufacturer succeed with a multitude of mass production strategies, several employers across different industries adopted similar systems. Even though the systems seemed to be far too expensive, companies were able to consistently maintain high levels of production and made enough money to actually lower the price of their products. For example, Ford's first Model T car debuted at a price of $850 in 1908, approximately $22,600 in today's currency. After the integration of the assembly line in a $5 day, the time for Ford's plant to build a single car dropped from over 12 hours to a mere 93 minutes. By 1927, the price would eventually drop to around $189, or just $2,580 today. Soon, the lower classes had much more expendable income and much more time to enjoy this money because companies didn't require them to work as long. Before Fordism existed, most Americans shopped at local stores, mainly because it was far too difficult and expensive to travel and shop elsewhere. Once the Model T boomed and multiple companies began employing Fordist systems, many other types of goods became affordable to the general public. Now that people had free time and extra money to spend for their personal enjoyment, leisure activities became popular. Like going to sports games and cinemas, shopping soon became a pastime, and department stores, chain stores, and mail-order catalogs became widespread. One of the reasons for its development was that stores began to display their goods, making products both visible and tangible. As time passed, department stores became more elaborate, displaying a variety of merchandise that appealed to the human eye. On a lower level, chain stores such as the Five and Dime stores provided a wide variety of inexpensive personnel and household items. Companies such as Sears, Roebuck and Company provided mail catalogs that offered a multitude of goods available by delivery. Shopping itself soon became a leisure activity, a new way to purchase, a new kind of lifestyle. However, Ford also affected mass consumer culture in other ways. Ford was one of the first businessmen that appealed to women and aimed to convince people why they needed his products, not just to show the public what they were. Many other industries soon adopted similar strategies, and Ford's ideas to reach potential customers soon changed the sophistication and appearance of the advertising. Because Ford disliked the idea of credit, he was one of the first to implement installment plans. This was especially important because it allowed lower class people who did not have the money to pay up front to pay for certain goods over a period of time. This marketing strategy allowed people to obtain goods that they normally could not afford, which encouraged spending, helping the economy boom. Henry Ford is certainly one of the most influential business people in the 20th century. Ford forever changed mass consumerism. His marketing tactics changed the advertising industry, and his mass production process lowered the prices of goods. However, the effects of these advancements were far more important than being able to buy something one couldn't buy before. The idea that people from different backgrounds and social standings buying the same products almost democratized consumerism. The idea that upper and lower classes were buying the same manufactured medium quality items was no longer considered strange. It became the norm. Ford forever changed the consumerism culture with his ideas, and the world would be totally different without him.